everyone. Welcome to Through the Back Loop, a podcast about mostly knitting, a little bit of sewing, a little bit of spinning today. Welcome. I feel like a stranger here because I have not podcast for 3 whole months. I just don't even know how that happened. But I'm here today. I'm happy to be here. I have a lot to show you. And it's summer. I'm so excited. Here in Southern California, I live in Oceanside, and you would think that it would be summer year-round. A lot of people have that mistaken, preconceived idea about Southern California. I think I did too, and that's really not the case. We have much weather that's kind of chilly, and we had June gloom and gray May, and I still think that summer is my very, very favorite season, even here in Southern California. So I'll blame my absence on gray May and June gloom. Anyway, it's summer now, super enjoying our lives. I'll have a few pictures to show you at the end of the podcast. But I'm just going to jump right in with knitting. I'm going to start with finished objects. The first thing is what I'm wearing. This is the Ripple Crop Top, and this is by Jessie May Martinson, and it is a crop top. Let's see if I can stand back a little bit so you can see that part of it. It's shorter in the front, longer in the back, and I love this sweater. I thought that it was going to be a top that I could wear totally without it being a layering piece, but this yarn is Illimani yarn. I don't even know how to say this. Sabri, and it's 85% cotton and 15% alpaca. And even though I did a swatch and blocked the swatch, maybe because this has so much cotton in it, that it grew even after I blocked it. So it's just kind of the nature of the fabric, but it is so incredibly comfortable. It's so, the cotton just makes it so breathable and comfortable. I love the sleeves. I love how just the drape of it and everything about it. And it was really very easy to knit. As you can see, it's like knit 3, purl 3, and just very easy project. So I'm really happy to have that in my wardrobe, and I've worn this a ton. It's almost embarrassing how much I've worn it, really. I feel like it's probably half worn out at this point, but hopefully not. Let's see, I did this. I knitted on a size 4 needle, and it was a bottom up. And the sleeves, the seam up here is a 3 needle bind off, and then you pick up for the sleeves. So really easy. Pretty impressed with this designer, Jessie May Martinson. I've started following her on Instagram, and all of her pieces are just super unique and have a really cool drape to them. She's somebody that I'm definitely going to be watching, and I would love to knit another one of her projects or one of her patterns. In fact, I might even make another one of these because I love it so much. Next time I'll probably do something with all wool, just because I don't know. I don't want another one in cotton, and possibly it wouldn't grow as much, and I could wear it as just a crop top. So we'll see how that goes. Possible future project. The second thing that I have spent a good deal of time on, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out, is the Roselle tee by Patty Lyons. And I have it on a hanger here. I'm going to grab it real quick. Hold on. This is it on a hanger. And a lot of people did this knit along. She had such amazing pattern support with all of her videos. But I'm going to try it on for you, so I'll be right back. It was magic. I'm back. This is the Roselle tee by Patty Lyons, and it is reversible, so you can wear it, let me scoot back here. You can wear it with the lace panel in the front, or you can wear it with this, just more of a wedge of knitting in the front and the knit panel in the back. This was part of a knit along that Patty Lyons created. You bought the pattern and you got all these, I think it was like 11, excuse me, 11 videos. And I mean, she just held your hand all the way through, and you learned so many cool things, you know, about the lace, about, well, for me, my gauge, I just couldn't get the right gauge. And so she showed you how to modify the pattern if you couldn't get the right gauge. So for me, it was, if I would have used the gauge that I had, it would have been wider and shorter than what I needed. And so she had, one of her videos was about modifications, and you just, you know, you took a few stitches off of each side, showed you the places where you could add length, and of course those are the places where no decreases are happening. So there were a few at the bottom, a few up here, rows that there was nothing else going on, and you could either increase or decrease those rows. There were videos on how to, when you bind this off and then later on pick this edging up, a lot of times there's a little hole where you did your decreases, and she just had millions of little tips and tricks about how to make it look really, really professional. On the sleeves, she showed how to create, you know, this kind of bell-shaped sleeve and stay in the knitting pattern or the lace pattern as you're making your decreases. Tons of really helpful things. She showed how to do an SSK so that matched the knit two together, the two decreases that make this you know, pie-shaped shape, and how to mirror those so that it just looked really super professional. This yarn is the recommended yarn. It was Valley Yarns Granville. It took 5 skeins to actually knit it. It is, the content is 90% Pima cotton and 10% merino. So it's nice that it's cottony and it has the comfort of cotton, but it has the kind of springiness of wool, so that kind of holds the shape and it doesn't grow as much as it should, or as much as it could. So that was, it was a nice yarn. It was inexpensive. I had talked about this yarn previously on one of my podcasts, and it's very inexpensive. At first I didn't know if I liked it, and when I was just looking at it on the shelf, and it was like, you know, I'll give it a try, and it did not disappoint. It's really a very nice cotton. And I think just that little 10% of wool just, you know, makes it handle so much better. So anyway, Patty Lyons held my hand all the way through this. One thing, and I've worn this quite a bit too this summer. One thing I will say though, that this lace panel, I feel like to get it, like after you wear it and after you wash it, you have to like kind of reblock it again, because I wore it a few times and this pleat kind of started like poking out, and you know, it didn't, this scalloped edge down here on the lace just wasn't as distinct, and you can even see this side is not quite as intact as the other side. So after a few wearings, I feel like you have to kind of baby it a little bit and take really good care of it to get everything back in shape. But it's super comfortable to wear. I feel like the customization that she kind of led you through with the videos, it fits well. A lot of times I have trouble up here because I'm kind of small in this area, and a lot of times things will just be way, way, way too big. And I'm having my mirror image problems again on this camera. But anyway, I just had the persistence. I was like, I am going to stick with it, and I'm just going to try to make this as perfect as I can. And her videos were great. I just really wish I could hold on to all of that knowledge. So the next time I want to have, a matching knit two together and a SSK, I can remember her little tricks. The way you pick up along here, the way you, there was a really cool technique on the shoulders. And luckily, you do have those videos forever. So I'm sure I'll be referring back to them even on projects that aren't, her pattern per se, but just some really great videos. She's an absolute genius. I don't know how she figured all these things out, but she's, a real pro when it comes to knitting. It was amazing. It was a great experience. So anyway, this again, it's been 3 months since I last podcast, and I probably, I finished this about mid-May, and we're in mid-July now. So I've worn it quite a bit and have really enjoyed it. And I think the pattern was only I think there was like a special deal, and so I got it for maybe $9, and you got all these videos. I mean, even if I think I said this before about this pattern, even if you didn't want to make this particular sweater, all those videos are well worth the $9. It was really a cool thing. I would do it again in a heartbeat. So let's see, what else can I tell you? It took 5 skeins of yarn to make this sweater, and I think they were only like about $5 and something each. So it's amazing. I made this sweater. The yarn cost like $25, and I have a really wearable piece. Was a great deal. I ended up using a size 3 on the ribbing, and then the rest of the sweater is knit in size 4. So it was small stitches, but I feel like it really holds its shape. So it was a great pattern, great experience. Thank you, Patty Lyons. Now I'm moving on to, let's see, yeah, that's all my finished objects. Moving on to whips. The first one I have is, I'm pretty excited about this. This is the Cipolla by Caitlin Hunter. And it is I've wanted to knit this for a couple of years. It has not been blocked, of course, since it's not even finished, but it's a top-down yoke sweater, and I'm just now working on the first sleeve, but I know a lot of people are probably really familiar with this pattern. You can make it short-sleeved if you want to, but after work, and that was my first plan, but after working on it and realizing, how much wool is stranded through here from the color work, I was like, nah, I don't think I want a really warm sweater with short sleeves, just because, usually if my arms are cold, how do I say that? I don't know, it's just too hot for the summer. I guess that's what it boils down to. So I decided I had to order some more yarn, and I am creating the sleeves right now. And the cool thing about this pattern, and I'll put up a picture, is I love the long sleeves too, because they continue down here on the sleeve. They continue some of the same pattern. And so it'll be great. But I definitely think it's more of a fall and winter sweater rather than a summer sweater. I guess it would really depend on where you live. If you lived maybe in the northern part of the world, maybe you wouldn't mind wearing a sweater like this in the summer. But anyway, this is super nice. The wool it's 100% merino, and it is Koi Premium Merino, Koigu. And the two colorways are cream and black. I actually purchased this yarn up at Pearl Soho in Orange County, and their warehouse store is there. First time I'd been there, and that was cool. So I purchased the yarn there, and it has been knit up. The ribbing is on a size 3, and the rest of the pattern, or the rest of the sweaters, on a 5. And then when I did my yoke and the stranding, it recommended you go up a needle size. So I decided to do that, and so the color work part is on a 6. You know, I have a lot of sad stories when it comes to knitting. I actually just grabbed onto this pattern, didn't read it thoroughly. Just usually I'm the smallest size, and so I just started, you know, I did do a swatch and everything, but I didn't really read the pattern carefully. Just started casting on. I pretty much knit all of the color work, and I got maybe about pretty far, like maybe down to here, and I decided to try it on. I had to put some cording in here. You know, I didn't use waste yarn. I used the Cocoa Knits cording, little needle and cording. Tried it on, and it was too small, way too small. So I was like, oh my gosh. And so I looked at the pattern carefully, and their smallest size is an extra, extra small. So it was my own fault. I just didn't look at it carefully. And so I frogged the whole thing. In fact, you can even see from when I started over again, here's a piece that you can tell it was frogged. So I've knit this almost twice now, but that's okay. That's what it's going to take to get the sweater I want. I think it's going to look great. I'm really excited about it, and it kind of matches my car. My car is these colors, so didn't realize that until I actually tried it on. But anyway, the Cipolla, I've wanted to do it for years, had my eye on it, and it is getting close because I just have the sleeves to do and blocking. So that's been taking up a lot of my time lately. That's what I've been spending almost all my knitting time on. So excited that maybe in the next podcast it will be a finished object. We'll see. Okay, another whip, and I've shown this a few times because this is just kind of my backup knitting, and I'm working on the second sock, but here's the first one. This is the Hermione sock, the Hermione Everyday Sock by Erica Luder. And the yarn is some that I got at Stitches West. It's Miss Babs, but I lost the tag before I documented the colorway. So I don't know. It's just all these great blues. I don't know. In the monitor, it looks a little more navy. This looks a little more grayish blue, but it's pretty close. Easy pattern to memorize. And so I've got that first one done, and here's the second one that I'm working on. I am doing this one magic loop, and this is, what size needle is this? I think this is a size 1 needle. So those are almost done, getting there. And I think those are my only 2 whips for today. Let's see, yep. I'm gonna just kind of blazing right through here. I'm going to go to sewing. I've really only made one thing this summer, and this is the Ogden Cami by True Bias. Also had this pattern on my radar for a long, long time. So many people have made this, and I really see why, because the pattern is just drafted so well. It just has a nice drape. It fits well. She gives really great instructions. Instead of a facing, well, I guess it is a type of facing, but it's a really deep facing. I don't know if you can see that. But so it's just, nothing about it is flimsy. She gives really good directions on how to make these straps. This was a piece of Liberty fabric that I had just been, I think I got it on sale up in, before the fabric store up in LA went out of business. Well, I think they're still in business, but only in Australia. But the LA store closed, and I got this like just 1 yard for a really good price, and it had been sitting there, for gosh, probably a couple of years. And so anyway, I was so happy that I was able to make something out of it, and also that I don't know, there's just something about summer that makes me want to sew. And I was thinking about that. I'm not sure why. It might be, well, I know a couple different reasons. I think my mom probably worked with me a little bit in the summer when she kind of taught me how to sew a little bit. And I used to not have the patience, and the rest of my family always teased me because I end up getting really mad when I was sewing. But I think it was in the summer when I learned. And then also, as an educator, I always had summers off. So that was the time that I even had any time to really do that. So that was fun. I'm hoping to make another one of these as well. The only other thing that I have been working on lately, I've been doing a little bit of spinning, and I was going to show you guys. This little bit of spinning is from a bat, a fiber that my dear friend Lorraine made for me and gave me after I moved out here. And I've been spinning in her honor because she recently passed away. She had a battle with cancer, and I'm heartbroken about it. But to commemorate her, I did some spinning the other night. Right now, this is just a single, and it's got these interesting little nubs in it. And I think I'm going to ply this in a 3-ply, and it'll be interesting to see if the nubs are just a really super interesting characteristic of the yarn, or I think they will be, because they happen often enough that I don't think it'll look like just a big globby mistake. I think they'll look, I think they'll give the yarn some really interesting character. So she did this on, what do you call it? The word's escaping me. Oh, a drum carder. And she just, blended in a lot of different fibers. And so I'm not exactly sure what all is in here, but it's been fun to spin and think about her. She loved spinning, and we learned how to spin together. We both worked at a yarn store, and just for fun. I think I worked on Sunday afternoons, and anyway, we both learned how to spin together, and she ended up really, really, really loving it. I think she purchased something like, not sure, like 4 or 5 spinning wheels over the years, and I used to go to her house on Sunday afternoons and we'd spin. So that's in honor of my sweet Lorraine. Lastly, I just wanted to talk about a future project. Probably, most likely, what I'm going to cast on in the very near future, as soon as I get finished with my Cipolla, is the Litchfield shawl, and I'll put up a picture. Again, this is a pattern I've had in my library, my Ravelry library for, oh my gosh, I think I have had that in there for probably 6 years, and I think I'm finally going to make it. I purchased this yarn. Let's see. These are both Forbidden Fiber Company, and I got these on the Yarn Over truck, which is a cool, I don't know if you've heard of it. It is actually it's a, used to be a Little Debbie truck, a Little Debbie snack cake truck, and it's now like a mobile yarn shop, and it makes lots of stops here in Southern California. They're based out of Southern California. So these two fingering skeins came from the Yarn Over truck. They're by Forbidden Fiber, And then I grabbed this one, which is actually falling out of the skein at the moment, but this one I grabbed for the shawl at Pearl Soho when I was up there. So the majority of the shawl will be with these two colors, and then it'll have a little tiny bit of the darker color in between. And this is kind of a dark blue. It's almost reading black on the monitor, but I don't know. I was sort of kind of trying to mimic like some beach colors, but I don't know how it's going to look. We'll see. But that's probably going to be my next project. One other topic that I just wanted to barely touch on quickly, and I'm not nearly as good with words as many other people in the fiber community have been able to articulate, their feelings about the some of the topics that have come up in the knitting community around inclusion and diversity. But I was happy to share on my Instagram feed, I stand with Ravelry. And I think they've been very brave at coming forward and articulating ideas that, that are trying to help the world become more aware of standing up against racism. And I'm really proud of them for that. It's a pretty difficult world we live in right now. It's pretty divided, and I grew up and started becoming aware of the world during the civil rights movement, and I just watched how I thought we were progressing, and each generation was becoming a little more enlightened and a little more inclusive and accepting of all different kinds of people as time went on. And I personally just never dreamed in my wildest dreams that we would be living in a world where, ugliness and racism is acceptable. And so I'm really, really proud of all the people that have stood up and, had people think a little deeper and articulated ideas that I think, but I'm not always able to put into words. So I just wanted to touch on that and just say how proud I am of the people that are standing up, and how proud I am of Ravelry for taking a stand on that. It is so needed and so appreciated. That's really all I have for today. I have a little video that I want to share with you from Fancy Tiger Crafts. That's a yarn and fabric store in Denver, Colorado. And it's been a little while, but I went back a couple months ago to visit my good friend, and was able, I asked permission first, and they were very gracious and said, sure, go ahead. And so I shot the little video of the store. I always love looking at, I love it when other people include videos of brick and mortar stores, because I just think they're becoming fewer and far between, and there's nothing like going in and actually, seeing the colors yourself and touching, and just the community that's around brick and mortar shops. It's just, you can't replace it. The internet does not replace that. So I've got a little bit of that, and then just a couple of pictures of some new knitters. There's some new knitters in the world. There's a couple of ladies that, one of them is actually my massage therapist, and she asked me to teach her to knit. So it was her, another friend, and her daughter. And I've been teaching them how to knit. So that's been really fun. So I'm going to stick in a couple of photos of them. So that's really it for now. My name's Peggy Richards Patty. I'm hoping that I can start, providing, podcasts for the channel way more frequently, and not go through a big dry spell like I just did. So we'll see you in the future. Have a great day. Happy knitting. Okay, there's Fancy Tiger sign. We're gonna go inside. Come along with me. Here we are, and I'm not gonna be very noisy, but there's always a really cool display right inside the front door here. And here is Carolyn Friedlander's new fabrics that she just came out with. This shop has amazing yarn.